Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. The Week 3 games of the 2023 NFL season are right around the corner. The first 2 weeks have been a blast, and there's a lot more great matchups coming up this week as well. And I'm going to preview and predict who I think will win every single Week 3 NFL game. Now, the Prime Video Thursday night football game between the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers has the potential to be a decent matchup, but New York, Saquon Barkley is injured right now, and Daniel Jones, he's trying his best, but the Giants had a sluggish start to the season, getting shellacked by Dallas in Week 1. They turned it around last week, getting a win by the skin of their teeth over the Arizona Cardinals by a field goal, but the San Francisco 49ers have a great trio with Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, and Deebo Samuel for Brock Purdy to throw the ball to. Their defense is fantastic. It's at home. New York's going to have to make that long trip in a short span. I don't think that New York's going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to go with San Francisco to beat New York 31-14 for San Francisco to move to 3-0 on the young NFL season, for New York to fall to 1-2. Now to move on to the Sunday games on CBS at 1 o'clock, you have the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans. Now Tennessee and Cleveland have both been mixed bags to start the year. Tennessee lost in Week 1, but they bounced back with a big win over the Chargers last week in overtime to move to 1-1 on the year. Ryan Tannehill had a good game. Derrick Henry was great on the ground. Cleveland looked good, beating Cincinnati in Week 1, but they did not play as well against the Steelers last week, and Nick Chubb is out as well, which is not going to help out the Cleveland Browns at all whatsoever. It's going to put a lot more pressure on Deshaun Watson. Even with Nick Chubb, though, I feel like Cleveland's got enough defense to slow down Derrick Henry, and we're going to have to see how Ryan Tannehill performs on the road. I know that he did good against the Chargers last week, but I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns to beat the Tennessee Titans 24-21. Then you have the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Detroit Lions. Atlanta's 2-0. They've been a surprise in the NFC South, like every single NFC South team has, except for the Carolina Panthers. Detroit's 1-1. They fell last week to the Seattle Seahawks. They did good against Kansas City, though, in Week 1. I think that the Atlanta Falcons could keep the good vibes rolling and move to 3-0, but it's going to be tough traveling on the road. Jared Goff's been solid, and Detroit's offense has a lot of young talent that's only going to keep getting better and better. I feel like that the Lions are going to pull this one out, move to 2-1, and give Atlanta their first defeat of the season. I got Detroit winning 24-21. Then you got the New Orleans Saints at the Green Bay Packers. New Orleans is 2-0. Green Bay is 1-1. The Saints have a fantastic defense. They didn't even give up a touchdown in the first 2 games of the season until Bryce Young threw a touchdown pass late last week, but New Orleans was able to win. Green Bay, they've been a bit up and down, and they almost were able to move to 2-0 last week, but they lost to the Atlanta Falcons late in the game. But Jordan Love has been solid. He's been fairly impressive, especially considering what most people were expecting him to do early on in his career, that he was really going to struggle. So I think that Green Bay being at home, that home field advantage is going to help. Yes, that New Orleans defense is going to get to Jordan Love, and I could see them rattling his confidence and being able to knock out the Green Bay Packers, but I'm going to go with Green Bay to beat New Orleans 21-17. This should be a solid game, however. Then you got the Denver Broncos and the Miami Dolphins. This one's not going to be close. Denver's really struggling. Russell Wilson's running for his life. The offensive line is not doing him any favors, and just the defense for the Denver Broncos hasn't been that great as well. They gave up a lot of points last week, and they just did not look like a team that was going to be able to beat many teams in the NFL this season, especially with their defense playing that way. Miami, they've got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They're going to be running all over the Denver Broncos defense, and Tua Tagovailoa, he's going to be throwing the ball to them all day long. I feel like Miami's going to easily win this game 38-14. Then you've got the Los Angeles Chargers and the Minnesota Vikings, arguably the 2 best 0-2 teams in the NFL. The Chargers barely lost both games that they played, and Justin Herbert is still playing solid football, but they just haven't been able to pull out a win yet. Austin Eckler is out as well, which has made a difference, but I do feel like Los Angeles has a good shot here to be able to get their first win of the season, especially because Minnesota, they've shown some cracks on both sides of the ball. Justin Jefferson's great as always, and Kirk Cousins is playing solid football, but it isn't as if he's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but it is in Minnesota. That's going to be tough for the Chargers to get the win on the road. I'm going to go with Minnesota to beat Los Angeles 31-28, for the Vikings to get their first win of the season, and for Los Angeles to fall to 0-3. Then you've got the New England Patriots, who are 0-2, and the New York Jets, who are 1-1. If Aaron Rodgers had have not unfortunately gotten hurt, I think more people would be on the Jets bandwagon. They were able to get that Week 1 win over the Bills, but unfortunately they struggled last week. In New England, they're 0-2, but they're still a really solid team. Mac Jones has shown improvement as a quarterback, and I I feel like New England's just playing better offense than the Jets with Zach Wilson at quarterback. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots to beat the New York Jets 28-21 for the Patriots to get their first win of the season. Then you've got the Buffalo Bills and the Washington Commanders. This is a tricky game to pick because Washington's been playing good football. Eric Bieniemy has been doing great play calling for Sam Howell at quarterback. Sam Howell's been a breakout player in the NFL. Ron Rivera's got a really solid team on both sides of the ball. But Buffalo, you still got Josh Allen. And 1 week you get bad Josh Allen. Next week you get really good Josh Allen. So depending on how he plays, if he plays composed, Buffalo is the better team. And I do think that their defense is going to get to Sam Howell some of this game. It is on the road, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to beat the Washington Commanders 31-21, and for the Bills to hand the Commanders their first loss of the season. Then you got the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is another game just like the Denver Broncos and the Miami Dolphins where I don't really see this one being close. CJ Stroud is playing well to his credit. He's probably been the best rookie quarterback by far this season in the NFL, but he's not getting a lot of help from his teammates. In Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, even though they were not able to put up a lot of points against the Kansas City Chiefs last week, I still feel like that they're going to have a solid bounce back game here. This is kind of a get-right game. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Houston Texans 28-14. Then you got the Baltimore Ravens and the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have been pretty solid as well. Anthony Richardson's probably been the second best rookie in the NFL behind CJ Stroud, and Baltimore, it's not like they've been a juggernaut, even though they are 2-0. But I do feel like that the Baltimore Ravens are a team that, with Lamar Jackson being a veteran quarterback, it's at home. I think they're going to get the better of the Colts. I'm going to go with the Ravens to beat the Colts 28-17. Then to start the 4 o'clock games, you got the Carolina Panthers traveling on the road to the Seattle Seahawks. Carolina's the only NFC South team that's not won a game yet. And Carolina with Bryce Young, the number 1 pick in this past draft, he's been struggling a little bit. He's been throwing a couple of picks, but he did have a nice drive at the end of the Saints matchup. But going on the road to play Seattle in that tough environment, Geno Smith has a lot of weapons all around him. The offense for the Seattle Seahawks is very dangerous with Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett when he's healthy. And then you've also got in the backfield Kenneth Walker. Seattle should get the better of Carolina. I'm going to go with Seattle to beat the Panthers 31-14. Then you've got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chicago Bears. These are a lot of matchups that are fairly easy to pick. Chicago's been struggling. They're 0-2 to start the year. Justin Fields has been up and down to start the season. I still don't feel like he's getting a lot of offensive line help, but he also needs to make better decisions passing the ball. Kansas City, you've still got Patrick Mahomes despite the wide receiver issues that the Chiefs have had. Kadarius Toney's still been struggling, but he's still a talented player. And Kansas City's defense, they held Jacksonville to only 9 points last week. I think they're going to have another great day slowing down Justin Fields. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Chicago Bears 35-17. Then you've got the Dallas Cowboys at the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is another fairly easy game to pick. All of the 4 o'clock games look like the favorites should have a great chance to win. Dallas has been rolling to start the year, and granted, the Cowboys do have a propensity to sometimes trip up, but I really like the way that Dallas is playing. They looked really good last week in their win over the New York Jets. Dak Prescott's been playing really good football, and the defense has been stellar, sacking quarterbacks left and right to start the year. Arizona with Joshua Dobbs, who's filling in for Kyler Murray. He's trying his best, but I do think that the Dallas Cowboys should comfortably win this game 35-17. Then on the Sunday night football game, you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Both of these teams are 1-1, and this would be a great win for both teams to have to kind of build some momentum and maybe help to make a playoff push later on in the year. Kenny Pickett did not play too well in the Pittsburgh Steelers win over the Cleveland Browns, but their defense was great, and Kenny Pickett didn't make too many mistakes, which is key there. Las Vegas, they were able to win their week 1 game, but last week the Raiders struggled on the defensive end. They just could not get a win, and I do think Jimmy Garoppolo's got enough weapons on offense, but it's all going to come down, can the Las Vegas Raiders defense be able to slow down the Pittsburgh Steelers offense? I don't know if they're going to be able to do that enough in this game, even though they are at home. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to get their second win in a row and beat the Las Vegas Raiders 24-21 on Sunday Night Football. Then you got the doubleheader yet again on Monday Night Football, just like we saw last week. I really like this format. It's pretty cool to have a game on ABC and then a game on ESPN as well. But you've got the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on ABC at 7:15 on Monday Night Football. The Eagles have been pretty good to start the year. They've shown some cracks on both sides of the ball. Jalen Hurts has not put up the stats he did last year, and I feel like without Miles Sanders in the backfield, the Eagles aren't running the ball as well as they did last season, but their defense is still solid. Even though they have given up some points, they did give up a decent amount of points to Mac Jones and the New England Patriots. Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield has had a really solid bounce back start to this season. He's playing much better football than he's had in the last few seasons of his NFL career. I could see Tampa Bay pulling this off with their home crowd helping to aid their team out there on the field, but I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-17, for the Eagles to move to 3-0 and for Tampa Bay to fall to 2-1, but this should be a good matchup. Then the other game on Monday Night Football is solid as well. You've got the Los Angeles Rams, who are 1-1, and the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 0-2, surprisingly. No one thought that the Bengals were going to struggle to start the year. They had an awful performance against the Browns in week 1, and then they couldn't beat the Baltimore Ravens last week either, and they were at home. So Joe Burrow, after getting that massive contract, he's been struggling a bit, and I don't know if it's because he's not completely healthy or what, but they're going to have to start playing better football, or Cincinnati's already going to be in a bit of trouble of possibly not making the playoff. Los Angeles, they won their week 1 game. The last week, the San Francisco 49ers got the best of them. This is going to be tough for them to travel on the road here, but with Matthew Stafford playing fairly well, and even though they don't have Cooper Kupp, I think Los Angeles could pull off a win with the Cincinnati Bengals struggling, but I do believe that Joe Burrow's finally going to get it all together, and the Cincinnati Bengals are going to get back on track, starting with this game. That home crowd environment is going to help them out. I feel like that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to move to 1-2, and the Rams are going to fall to 1-2, with Cincinnati beating Los Angeles 24-17. This is a game that the Cincinnati Bengals have to have, and I feel like Joe Burrow is going to be able to find a way to lead his team to their first victory of the season on Monday Night Football. But those are the week 3 games in the 2023 NFL season, and those are my picks for every single week 3 game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about my picks for these games, and which teams you think will be able to win the week 3 games, and possibly which teams you feel like could be on upset alert. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.